Well, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. This video today is going to be a little bit spicy. We've got some cold foils here that we're going to rip in half. For science, I want to talk about some things. First off, before I get into this is not meant at all to be any sort of a dig at LSS. This is really for science and interesting, and I want to document some stuff on the channel for the future. There's a lot of things going on in the printing process for Flesh and Blood. We have Tales of Aria, which we were told was going to be printed in the United States at a printer, and then instead it was printed in Belgium. And you know, we didn't see the US printer, so that's kind of a weird thing and interesting. But we also have now a Japanese printer for Unlimited, and there's just a lot of different feelings to the cards. And so I wanted to do a quick run through about all the things that are going on. I want to rip in half a cold foil to see if there's anything different in the printing process or in the card process, so that in the future we have some sort of documentation of the past, at least, to see for fakes and for things like that. I know that's been a concern for some people. I want to just document things. I don't know where to go with this. I don't know where I am going with this, but that's what we're doing on the channel. So let's hop down and take a look at what we're dealing with. I want to talk a little bit about Magic the Gathering and how they do things. I want to talk a little bit about cold foils. We're going to rip one in half. If you're like, Louie, why would you rip a cold foil? Well, A, they're only worth $10, and B, I put them in my pocket and I put them through the wash. And so they're a little bit washed and they're not worth anything now. Let's talk about that for a second. I know I'm going to get a lot of slack in the comment section about it, and I deserve it. But I have a 2-year-old and a new baby, and I'm running a business and I'm running a YouTube channel. I'm trying to put out 2 videos a day. And sometimes when I open mail, I'm in the car and I get out of my car and I have a 2-year-old to get out of the car and I have a baby to get out of the car. So I put stuff in my pocket, and then at the end of the day, it's still in my pocket. And then I just throw my pants in the laundry, and then my wife does the laundry, and then it gets washed, and it happens. So don't give me too much slack for it, but at least we could utilize this for science. And see, I did buy some of these off of TCG Player because $10 felt pretty cheap. So anyway, let's talk about some stuff. We got a we have, this is an original printing of WTR Unlimited. This is going to be that was printed in Belgium, and then we have, I kept it in the case just to prove to you where it was from. This is a Japan, made in Japan WTR Unlimited. We're going to look at the difference between those two and how things change. We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to rip some cards in half and see that. Let's talk about Magic the Gathering, because I want to talk about how they do things. I don't know like the printing process with Magic the Gathering as well as I do with Flesh and Blood. Just simply put, I just don't follow it that much anymore. This is a old Weatherlight card, a reserve list old card. I did a big spec on Tolarian and Trancers a couple months ago before I started the YouTube channel. I don't know how it's worked out. I have a bunch of these, so I don't mind tearing one up. But the point being that, you know, they are essentially the same thing. They look the same. They feel the same. These are 25-year differences between these two cards. 20-year, I don't know the actual day. And I mean, you can see, like, look at the blend. Like, they look the same. And I know there are some Magic cards. I know like pre-release packs, they feel a little bit different. So there is some difference, but they're pretty uniform. And then Magic the Gathering, of course, they have the, it's called the blue core, I think is what they call it. It's like a blue paper inside. It's not, it's blue. It's not, it's not black. So Magic the Gathering, it's blue core. And so when you, rip a Magic the Gathering card in half, you can see, oh man, does Weatherlight not have that? Yeah, it does. You can just hardly see it in the way I ripped it. Let's rip it again. Yeah, you can kind of hardly see it there. It has a blue core. You can see it. It's right along the edge there. Yeah, it's just right along the edge. Man, that rip is hard. There you go. You can see it there. You can kind of see it. Anyway, it's got this blue core. It's really hard to show you. This one is like hardly blue. If you take a flashlight and put it on the back of a Magic card, you can see the blue core, and that's one way to tell the difference. Now, I think Magic has a patent on the blue core, and that's why we mostly see black core in other TCGs and other card games. But the other thing that Magic has is, if you look here, if you put a this is important for Flesh and Blood, I promise. If you look at that green dot, if you put a scope up to the blue dot, and I used to have one, I don't know where it is, but a jeweler's loop, you'll see a pattern, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like an L. like this of red dots within that. And that's how you can tell an authentic Magic the Gathering card. Now, there's been a lot of conversation about Flesh and Blood cards of is there anything in the back of a Flesh and Blood card? I have spent about 6 hours total of my life looking at the back of a Flesh and Blood card to see if I could find anything. I haven't found anything. The only thing, I know there's been some dialogue about it and I've shared, the only thing that I've noticed that's of note is that the TM right here, and I can't zoom in high enough. It doesn't really matter because this is not official or anything. The TM, this little nick comes right at the point of one of the letters. That might be a hard thing to do. Anyway, I don't think there's anything there. I think that's just an accident or a non-intentional thing. I can't find anything on the back of the card. I would love for LSS to tell us if there is anything on the back of the card that kind of shows if it's an authentic card or not, as we are starting to see tons of value. Now, I know a big argument that I've always said is like, can anybody really replicate the cold foil process? And I don't know if that's true. I think it would be a lot for cold foil counterfeits, and maybe LSS is just like, look, no one's going to ever be able to replicate that, and so we don't have anything. That may be the case. I don't know. So anyway, I wanted to go through what Magic the Gathering has. They have the blue core. You can shine a flashlight. You see blue. That's one way. You've got the green dot test, which is super popular. Just search green dot test Magic the Gathering. You'll see what I'm talking about. I should have had a little thing on there, but I didn't. And then in addition, you just got the look of the cards. The feel of the cards are pretty consistent from set to set, and even from printing to printing, they're pretty consistent. So I want to talk about Flesh and Blood. New card game, newer, younger. That's I'm gonna open up this box. This is the like I said, the print run from Belgium. I guess the packs would have done it justice because the packs do open differently. And then we'll kind of compare the two cards, and then we will crack into a cold foil and see if there's anything special in a cold foil compared to another first edition Tales of Aria card. But the amount of different printers is a good thing because it allows us to have a different amount of product than if you just had one printer. But I'm curious of now that Unlimited, and I thought about making this video many times, but it never really mattered because Unlimited was never investable. But now all of a sudden, Crucible of War Unlimited goes out of print, and now we have dialogue about Unlimited, and is Unlimited investable? And so if there's no way to tell if a card is authentic in 20 years, it kind of makes a question mark. So let's take a look at these cards. We're going to open them in the packs. We'll see if we get a eye. Oh man, can you imagine if we hit a heart here? How amazing that would be. All right. So we'll take a look at foil and non-foil, and we'll just kind of crack open and see what happens. Because I think it's important to look to see, is there any differences? And there is a little bit of a feeling difference. And then the really key here is the back of the card. Is there anything that matters? So here are our two from Japan, and here are two from Belgium. Let's see what difference. Let's do non-foil first. So let's just pop them over and look. Like right off the bat, you can tell that the Belgium ones are just a little darker, right? Can you tell that? The Belgium ones are just a little bit darker. I'll switch them because I don't think it's light yet. This one's still darker. The Belgium one is just a little bit darker. And again, like where's my Magic cards? What did I do with those? They disappeared. Oh well. No, they're right here. Magic. They're like the same, right? Like the back of the card, it's the same. It's just, it's the same. Curious. All right, now let's, flip them over. Let's rip them up. Let's see what's inside of one of these cards. So we have the blue core, the black core. That one is on the Japanese set, and then on the Belgium we have black core too. So that's good. They're the same thing. That's really good. Black core. So the key question, I think, is if there's going to be the ability to have slightly different, and they feel a little bit different. The sheen's pretty much the same though. The sheen is pretty similar. The sheen's almost identical, but different kind of colorations that can happen in the back of Magic cards. I mean, I'm only using an example of two cards. I know I've noticed that on the back of Magic cards. Without the blue core, black core can be printed again. I'm curious to know if there's anything. This is such an intricate design there almost has to be something in there that they put there to, make it that, it's a different way of printing and a different whatever that somebody couldn't tell the difference of. Let's see if there's any difference in a foil card. No, it's still black core. And then I guess there's like a little foil. I've heard some people talk about this. There's like you can do a foil peel or something. Let's see if I can get that there. So underneath the foiling, you see that? There's just like a foil layer. I don't know. It's like a foil. It's just like a little super thin. I don't know. Those pros that do altars always like remove the foil. Maybe they use some sort of. Anyway, it's the same card. It just has something on top of it. So yeah. All right. Now let's do this. The moment you've been waiting for. Is there any difference between a cold foil and a non-foil? So let's open up this Tales pack. This is all Tales First Edition. Let's see if we pull ourselves anything fun. And Chilling Ice Vein. All right, so let's see if there's any difference here. Let's really get to this. So first off, this is the Belgium. Same printing, right? Same core. That's great. You can compare the colors. Which one do you think is from Belgium and which one do you think is from Japan? Well, you can tell the color difference. These are Belgium and that is Japan. Again, I don't know that that's that big of a matter. Like, I don't know that it really matters. You can tell there, right? You can tell. I can tell. You can tell. I don't know that matters as long as there's another way to like really distinguish it. All right. So the cores inside are the same. No hero change. All right, let's rip this open and see if there's anything different in the cold foil process. So it's the same paper, right? Let's see what they do. How do they get the cold foil on there? Is it like another layer? Like the foiling on the other one? Let's go just at the cold part. Doing it live, everyone. Let's see if we can pull up just the foiling. I was going to do this with my cold foil eye, but then I was like, probably not. Not really obvious. I wouldn't do that. All right, here we go. Let's see. You can't really get that up. It honestly feels like very similar foiling to the regular foil. I don't know. I'm sure these professional alterers could do something with that, but like the foiling seems like it's another layer over top of that. That's the entire card, just like the foil sheet, but that it's not. They do this with the spot foiling too, right? Where the foil process. I wonder if this is part of the reason why they have the way that they foil cards, because they do the cold foil, where they have just the foiling on. Like where they want it and then no foil in other areas. That's essentially what they're doing here with the cold foil. You see there's a whole layer over top of that, but then on the cold foil you have, that's where the shine is put. So it's almost the same mechanic. You can see, look at that blue cold foil. It's so cool. The blue cold foil. It's essentially the same thing as the rainbow foil. Like it's the same layer. It's the same whatever. But it's just a different sheen almost. It's almost like picking a paint color, right? They're like, what sheen do you want? And in this case, you chose the cold foil sheen. I can't peel it up. So very interesting. We'll rip this again for you. I don't know. I think the cards are so similar in feel and texture. I don't think the printer to printer matters. I think it would be really interesting to see if we have anything in the back of the card like the green dot test. It's pretty genius that they put something in a Magic the Gathering card way back when, that they knew that they needed to tell the difference, and that's where that green dot test came in. And basically they use this dot matrix print, right, where it just prints a bunch of dots. And so it's impossible to take a high res photo. It's like, it's impossible to fake that still. Like even in 2021, you can't fake that. Like I had bought a Gaia's Cradle once on eBay, and the fakes, it'll be like a whole bunch of red dots, and the real ones is just 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I would love to hear from LSS. Is there anything on the back of a card that we could utilize to share with us that it's an authentic card for the future? I think it's important to know that in 20 years. Probably not important to know it now, but if Flesh and Blood is around in 20 years, which is what a lot of people are investing their money in and believing, then I think it'd be super good to know what is the quality to prevent against fakes in the future. The cold foiling process, I thought I was going to come in here feeling like it was a lot different than the process was going to be a lot different. And again, I don't know anything about the process. From dismantling the card, it feels pretty similar to the rainbow foil. It feels like, just like I said, like a different sheen. I still don't know that like the fake, ooh, that's cool. I still don't know that like the fake companies that make fake cards would be able to recreate that sheen in a way that's not really easily distinguishable. I feel like it would be pretty easy to distinguish that based on the cold foil. And that maybe their play here is to just say that like there's not necessarily anything on the back, and what we do is we say our valuable cards are the cold foils, and that's too difficult to copy. So just a question. Anyway, I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section. Don't criticize me too hard for ripping cards or for leaving them in my pocket. It was a mistake. It happens. I love cold foils, and I usually treat them with respect, but today we can rip some in half. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Remember, be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again in another video.